Hi there, guys. I'm going to talk a little bit here about Artemis and what's been going on with it and how somewhat the budget is going to affect it. Well, there's not really much I can say about the budget affecting it because the article I got all this from was a NASA spaceflight article that I'll put down in the description. They didn't really exactly talk about what it's affecting, other than that Artemis is only going to go up through Artemis 3. We're going to land on the moon, and that is it. Unfortunately, with the budget, the way it sounds like it's going to go, it's going to end there. But we'll see what ends up happening, because according to a video I was watching a little bit of, we have all the way up through Artemis 4 or 5, all of the engines of the RS-25s completed, which are the main engines to the space shuttle. They were used on the shuttle. Now they're being used on Artemis. So they're not just space shuttle engines. The boosters are all checked out and everything. The entire Orion, well, let me tell you about Orion. Orion has been moved from the checkout facility on May 3rd to the Kennedy Space Center multi-payload processing facility. They've moved it, so it's now in a different facility doing stuff there. And they're going to be sending some CubeSats on it, some Korean ones and German CubeSats, both space agencies. And then I don't know much about them, and I'm not going to go into much detail here, but I would definitely do some research on them, and I may make a video on them, but we'll see. I do have to also do a bunch of other video stuff too. And they've checked out the solid rocket boosters and all that. They had to do that a year prior in advance, so that then they made sure they were ready to go, because because the way they have to stack them and everything, because they're the same ones they used on the space shuttle. I kind of almost think they should have used SpaceX ones, but I kind of understand some of the reasoning of why they didn't use SpaceX ones from the Falcon 9s is because they would have had to pull a contract, and they would have had to change the whole design and all that. It would have been a whole plethora of stuff. But I kind of think they would have done better using those, because at least we wouldn't be having much of a mess with them, because the solid rocket boosters, I was reading a book, well, not exactly reading it, but listening to a book called, it's something about O-rings and something failures. I'll make sure I post in the description. I'll post the link to the book or something. But it's a guy that he actually worked for the company that makes the SRBs for the space shuttle program and during the space shuttle program, and he was talking about some things within there about some of the accidents and different things like that. And he was actually told by NASA people, this is probably already news that you probably already know, but by NASA people, he was told when he was doing the presentation of the solid rocket boosters and everything that he was not to mention that they have an O-ring failure and there is an issue with a leakage problem on them, which I kind of think is a little bit of a concern. And you would think that NASA would know by now that maybe we should think about a different type of engine, You'd think that, but oh well. And we'll see what ends up happening. But I think that's all. Other than, let me tell you the launch dates they're hoping for. Oh, and they had to change out one of the RS-25s because it was an older, it was previously used on like space shuttles and stuff, some of the equipment from it, and it had a issue with one of the hydraulics in it, so they had to replace it out. They're hoping to be able to use that engine later on a future Orion SLS, but we'll see what ends up happening with that. But the dates they're thinking about potentially launching are between April 2026, and maybe as early as February 2026. But we might see it a little sooner than that. We'll see what ends up happening. I'm going to definitely be streaming it and let you guys know as things are going on and stuff with it.